Dana White, UFC president, has a major announcement on the show today. Did you watch those baseball games last night? Did you? I know you're a busy guy. And you're a Boston guy, so the Red Sox are out. You don't give a rip, right?
Yeah, that's
well, but Brady's back.
I'm happy about that.
Oh, heck yeah.
Awesome.
It's great.
I was on a plane flying, and I missed that game and bummed me out.
They look good.
Yeah, I wanted to see it. I'm pumped.
So before we get to the major announcement.
But yeah, I did. I actually watched the Cubs game. I watched the end of the Cubs game.
Wasn't that great, though? Isn't that great American television?
Love it.
That stadium in San Francisco.
It was cool.
Last time I saw you, I think, was in San Francisco. So let me start. First of all, I got a bone to pick. So in the NFL, if two guys punch, it's a $28,000 fine. Mike Tomlin almost tripped a player. It's a $100,000 fine. So Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz at this crazy press conference, and I read there's going to be a $250,000 fine. Now, the Nevada Athletic Commission levies the fine. Doesn't that seem outrageous?
Insanity.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane.
So did you fight? Did you go to the Nevada Athletic Commission and fight for your guys?
Listen, it's we're regulated by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and I don't know if these guys don't get together and talk before they go in and do these things and try to make sense of what they're, and now there's a new commissioner on there and listen, I don't want to go popping off at the mouth here and getting myself in trouble either, but ridiculous.
I thought it was absurd.
Insanity.
You go look at the NFL and the revenues in the NFL. Now, these fines are tied to percentage of belt or percentage of purse. So I understand that. But to me, the Nevada Athletic Commission's got to get out of. What if Mayweather made $100 million for a fight and you docked 5% of his fight for a thrown water bottle at a presser?
Throwing water bottles at a presser. Not one of my. Listen, I'm not thrilled about it when it happened, and we did the best we could to contain it at the time. But throwing, come on. It
wasn't the end of the world.
Here's the other problem. The other problem with that is Conor McGregor, hit me yesterday and said, I don't ever want to fight in Nevada again. Ever. Now, how does that make sense for the state of Nevada? That you're going to try to find this kid and Nate that much money, it just makes people not want to come fight in our state. And that's not a good thing. And guess what? Conor McGregor doesn't need Nevada.
No.
He can fight anywhere.
He can fight in Ireland, New York.
He can fight in Iowa. He can fight in Iowa, okay? We can put his fight on an island off the coast of anywhere.
Pay-per-view is such a large part of your business. You can fight anywhere.
Just makes no sense for the state and for it's just terrible.
Okay, so here we go. We have a major, and for the record, Conor McGregor fights Eddie Alvarez. That's UFC 205. That is in New York. Now, I defended you the other day.
Uh-oh.
I said this the other day. A lot of people, Kevin Iole was like, what about the weight classes? And I said, time out. When you've worked as hard to get to New York,
right,
and you get to New York, I don't care about weight classes. You got to have a superstar on the card.
What's he talking about?
Well, there was an article a couple of weeks ago, and people said, Conor McGregor, what weight class? Don't make a mockery. And I said, just put him on the card. I don't care what he's fighting at. I don't care what division he's fighting at.
Kevin Iole's out in left field sometimes. I mean, he's crazy. I mean, we're going into New York for the first time ever, and the goal was to bring the biggest, baddest card we could bring. The biggest card ever in UFC history going into New York. So, listen, people are always going to have opinions. And
I think sometimes your MMA, your UFC MMA, they love this sport. You have created something they love. It's not traditional. So a lot of young guys, bloggers, and media, they feel some ownership with UFC.
Well, here's the thing. If you wanted to attack us over weight classes, I mean, the Nate Diaz fight was something to really go after. I mean, that was ridiculous, but that's what they wanted. What are you going to do? Those two wanted to fight each other twice, so
I tell you, that's the best fight I've seen. I said it on the air the next day. Diaz, McGregor. I was in my house with 5 guys, all age groups, old people and young kids. It was the best fight I've seen. You were in Boston. I was in Las Vegas.
I think you said 20 years. I heard your show when you said that, yeah.
It was one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life. It was incredible.
I agree.
Okay, so let's make
it might not have been right, but
it was great American sports. You deal with it.
It was an awesome fight.
Major League Baseball the other day made the Dodgers play on Sunday, then on Monday fly cross country, and a lot of people speculated it's because baseball wants the Cubs to win the World Series. Leagues do what they do, okay? That's just what they do. You do what you do to get the card. It's great. Okay, here, let's make the major announcement, Dana White.
Well, the thing that everybody's been waiting for a good year, Ronda Rousey is back. Ronda Rousey is going to be back. She will fight December 30th for the title.
So that will be UFC 207 in Vegas.
In Vegas against Amanda Nunes for the title.
Okay.
The champ is Amanda Nunes, who took the title from Miesha Tate.
That was 8. Now, in the women's division, a lot of upsets. I mean, this is the way it works. Now, she is Amanda Nunes she was the girl at the T-Mobile Center when they were booing Cormier because of his style. She stole the card.
Right.
She is a boxer. This is not the world's best matchup. Is it for Ronda Rousey?
Well, the thing is, Ronda Rousey has been the biggest, baddest female fighter on the planet now since we got into women's fighting. And, Ronda had a bad loss, obviously, and lost her title. But, she's still Ronda Rousey at the end of the day.
Okay.
So when you talk about bad matchups for Ronda, it's just about Ronda coming back. Everybody, wins or loses, it happens, I don't think anybody saw that coming, Ronda losing anytime soon,
well,
which is what made it so shocking when it happened. But let me tell you what, she's
do you think psychologically she's in a good spot?
Oh, 100%. It was never really about a psychological problem with Ronda. The thing with Ronda is she wanted time off. She said, I want to go away and I want to relax. But this girl worked hard for us for 3 years, nonstop, fight after fight, promotion after promotion. And she wanted time off. And in this sport, I say it all the time. If you even hint to, I want to retire or I want time off, you need to do it in this sport.
Because you got to be all in.
You got to be all in this sport, man. You got to be all in. You got to be a killer. You got to want it. And you got to want to be a world champion.
All right, so we have 205 is November 12th in New York City, and Ronda Rousey now will fight in 207 in Vegas. That's the end of the year. That's December 30th. In Las Vegas. That's a huge card. Now, some say Chris Cyborg, physically imposing. Why doesn't Rousey fight Cyborg? Why this fight?
Yeah, I actually, I know that Cyborg wants that fight. Ronda wants that fight too. So Ronda's plan right now is to come back and try to win her title back. And if that happens, the Cyborg fight will definitely happen.
Now and I said this the other day, is that I saw this in boxing. Ali was a star. Larry Holmes wasn't. They were both champs.
Right.
Conor McGregor's a star. Nate Diaz is a hell of a fighter. That some people have said with Cyborg, well, like, it's not fair. Ronda Rousey's getting star treatment. What would you say to those people? Because I said the other day, I said, Ronda Rousey's a star. Tom Hanks is a star. Not every actor's a star.
Ronda Rousey's a mega star. She's not even a star.
Tell our audience how big she is that I wouldn't know.
Massive. I mean, let me put it to you this way. This is always the best way I can explain it. Every time we go to Brazil, all the Brazilians want are Brazilians to win. They boo everybody, no matter who they are, what's going on. They boo everybody. When Ronda Rousey went down there, she's the biggest. I mean, Anderson Silva, any of these guys that were huge stars in Brazil, when we went down there at Ronda, it was the biggest thing we've ever seen. And all of the Brazilians were cheering for Ronda instead of the Brazilian, fighter.
You and the Fertittas bought this sport. I wrote about it in my first book for $2 million, and we all know about the sale now. It's $4 billion. And I have speculated that it wasn't a cash buy. There's some equity here. And in order for that to pay off, you'll probably have multiple deals with multiple networks, and you'll need pay-per-view to potentially add 30, 40, 50% or double to pay those bank loans. That's the way the world works. You got a lot of money, and the Fertittas did, and God bless both of you. But if I own it and I got bank notes, those pay-per-views become really big. And I speculated, and I have for the last 2 months, that I have a sense, and I'm okay with it totally, Dana. Professional wrestlers, Brock Lesnar, NFL players. I said this a month ago. I said, don't be shocked if you see retired NFL players, professional wrestlers somewhere on these cards. Maybe not the headline event, but I'm okay with it because this is the world we live in. So I hear a story about Greg Hardy, and Greg Hardy's like, okay, I want to go. Where do you stand on a guy like Greg Hardy wanting to be an MMA fighter with the baggage he has?
Well, there's been situations like Brock Lesnar who came in and wanted to do it, and obviously that one turned out well. We've had the CM Punk thing. It just depends. I wouldn't say that I'm looking for retired NFL players for pay-per-view or anything like that. I just don't know what the real interest is in seeing some of these guys fight, or if it even makes sense.
Did CM Punk, was he good business?
Yeah. I mean, is CM Punk going to be a guy who is going to, stay in the UFC and continue to fight? I probably not, but he wanted to try it. I like the guy. I respect the guy.
Smart dude.
He wanted to fight in the UFC. He wanted to do it. He trained for 2 years, and he did it.
When CM Punk was devoured, it had a pit bull beach ball feel to it. It was over. Is that good or bad for your sport? How did you view that being a one-sided affair that was virtually over 8 seconds in when the takedown?
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't great for the sport. It didn't hurt the sport. Either way. He wanted to do it, and he did it.
For me, I grew up in the era of Ali Frazier. So I would like to see McGregor and Diaz face again. But you have a business to build. You can't just keep giving the fans, for years and years, the NFL had blackouts. You can't give the fans everything they want every fight. What is the future of Diaz-McGregor in your opinion? Because they're clearly evenly matched.
I didn't want to do Diaz-McGregor too. I tried to talk.
Why?
Because it doesn't make sense. First of all, Conor is the 145-pound champion, right? Diaz is fighting at 170, and it was one of those times. There was an injury.
Yes. Guy
pulled out of the fight. McGregor and Diaz ended up happening. It's a fight that probably shouldn't have happened because of the weight classes. And then after it happened, they both wanted to do it again. So we did it. But at the end of the day,
Diaz, the bigger guy, you'd rather they not.
It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Was it fun?
Okay, so
it was unbelievable. It was an incredible fight, and all that. But when you have two guys in weight classes, and McGregor is a legitimate, very, very good fighter, right? And you can only have so many of those wars in your career, and it just makes no sense to do. So
you've talked McGregor out of it. You said, Conor, to extend your career, he's a 25-pound heavier fighter. I
tried to talk McGregor out of it the second time, and he wasn't having it. He wanted that fight, and he wanted that fight at 170. It happened. They're 1-1. It's a fight that, it doesn't need. What I'll tell you right now. You got Conor McGregor, who's the 145-pound champion, and you got Eddie Alvarez, who's the 155-pound champion. Those two are going to fight for the 55-pound belt. That's a great fight, and that fight makes sense.
Okay, so the huge announcement, again, is Ronda Rousey will fight the champ, Amanda Nunes, who's a great boxer. And
great on the ground, too.
So what kind of, just throw it out there, was it hard to put it together? Because some fights are easy. Some fights, you get along with Rousey very well. I've seen you guys get along very well.
Yep.
Did Nunes wait for this? Did Amanda wait for this? She was okay with it?
No, Amanda has been ready to fight whoever we wanted her to fight.
So she didn't have a favorite.
She's ready to defend her title against whoever. And obviously, for somebody like Amanda who beat Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate,
God, look at that.
Is has been the second best fighter in the world for 7 years behind Rousey. Miesha Tate is awesome. She went in and she destroyed Miesha Tate. So for her coming off a fight like that and now having the opportunity to fight Ronda Rousey, huge for Amanda.
So this just came down to you making a decision, and you thought that was the best matchup.
Mm-hmm.
It had the most star appeal. It's the best matchup now.
Absolutely.
What if Rousey loses?
Oh, I mean, people win and lose. I mean, it happens.
Do you think it would be her last fight?
It's the sport. I don't know. Well, I mean, when you talk about somebody, you got to see the fight first. How did the fight go? What type of a fight was it? Was it an absolute war and she loses by split or anything like that, or gets caught or whatever? You have to see the fight before you can determine whether you think somebody should or would retire.
How come you don't wear fancy suits like Vince McMahon since you became a zillionaire?
I'm not a big suit fan.
You like soup, not suits.
Yeah, I like soup a lot. I'm not into suits. I can't get out of my suit fast enough when after a fight.
I know. That's one of the things we love about you. Dana White, great seeing you. Great. Congratulations on the announcement.
Thanks.
It will be Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes. That will be UFC 207 in Vegas, December 30th. Don't forget November 12th is Eddie Alvarez, Conor McGregor. That's UFC 205. That's in New York City, Madison Square Garden. Finally, the sport arrives in the city, Gotham. It's the